Hey everyone, I'm Leanne if you don't know me, and if you do know me and you're back, thank you so much. I'm glad to have you guys back. Today we are doing another one of my advice videos. I've done a couple of these in the past. I love doing these kind of videos. In the past, I focused mainly on relationship advice just because I simply love to talk about relationships and I love talking with you guys about what's going on in your life. These kind of videos make me feel closer to you guys than any other videos I've ever done. And I feel like that makes perfect sense, but it just kind of occurred to me when I thought about doing this one this time. And so these are really special videos to me. A lot of you guys seem to really like them. I hear a lot of comments saying that you guys want this to be like a podcast, but I've got news for you. You could just close your eyes or turn away from your phone or not look at your phone and it could be exactly like a podcast. Just imagine it's a podcast if you wish this was a podcast, because the idea of starting a podcast is a little much for me right now. So we can just pretend that this is a podcast. Anyway, like I said, I love doing these videos and I so appreciate you guys trusting me with your lives, sending these emails in. I basically just put out a call on my Instagram story. I didn't put it anywhere else. It was just up for 24 hours and I let you guys know that you could email in to LeighAnnSays@gmail.com, an email I set up just solely for this purpose. And I got a bunch of emails. I've gone through them. I've kind of taken some notes here and there. I have a lot of them. There are a lot of really good questions. And like I said, I went beyond just relationships, but there are a lot of relationship questions in here. And I'm just gonna warn you guys before we get started, some of these questions angered me, like had me furious, had to take a little time out before recording this video because I was going through all the questions. And some of these questions make me so upset for you guys because you're dealing with such a mess, such messy people that are so selfish and so awful. And it just makes me so mad for you. And I just want to say from the very beginning to absolutely everyone, look around. Are you getting what you deserve? Are you settling? Are you letting people treat you like garbage? Stop it, okay? That goes for everyone. That is like the blanket advice just starting out, because I don't want to be like a person full of rage, but like some of these emails made me really mad. I do have to say, I'm not an expert. I do not claim to be an expert on basically anything. So pretty much this is advice that I would give to a friend. This is like friend to friend advice, sister to sister advice, and you don't have to take my advice. There's most likely going to be a moment in this video where you disagree with me or you think I'm stupid or you have a completely different take on the whole thing. And in that moment, I absolutely encourage you to go to the comments, share your advice, share your opinion on the situation, because hey, the person that wrote me the email, they might not like what I'm saying either, and they might really appreciate hearing from more people in the comments. So feel free to share your opinion in the comments, and if we disagree along the way, it's okay. We can still be friends. I feel like friends can disagree and it's all good. And like I said, I'm not an expert, but I'm just here to help and just give some advice from the outside. Let's just jump into it. I feel like this intro's already been long enough. We're gonna start with one that's more about friendship, and that is the subject line. I'm also going to cut out the parts where the people say really nice things to me in every single email. I'm so thankful for this and I treasure it myself, but doing these videos, I always feel a little bit awkward reading the parts where they say something personal to me, like how they like my channel or they're thankful for my videos. I don't know. It just feels weird to read something that's basically a compliment to me out to you guys. And hopefully you guys that wrote me understand that I am thankful for you guys too. And I'm so glad that you trust me with your emails and your life. In your life. That sounds very dramatic. For real, getting started. My best friend of 11 years and I have recently gone through a split of sorts. We became friends in junior year of high school. We were each other's maid of honors, which will always remain so special to me. We have had our fair shares of ups and downs and disagreements. Recently, she asked me if there was any way I could watch her daughter so that her and her husband could work. She understood that I was very standoffish due to COVID. She pleaded with me, saying that they have always worn masks in public and have been very safe. I agreed to watch her daughter. It was exactly one day after babysitting that I saw all three of them at the store with no facial coverings, no social distancing, and I was obviously upset. She texted me that night apologizing that they weren't wearing masks. However, I was still upset and didn't even know how to respond. I have asthma as well as another underlying autoimmune disease, and I felt like I was taken advantage of. On top of that, about a month prior, I had given her a homemade mask for myself as a birthday present. I was unemployed and didn't really have anything else to give. Her husband mocked me when she opened the gift, claiming they did nothing. His social media has also been filled with anti-mask claims. I feel very upset and taken advantage of. I never responded to her text and also received nothing else from her. A couple weeks ago, I passed her on a trail and said hi, and she walked past me like a stranger. I feel absolutely horrible. She's also deleted me off social media. I guess I'm just wondering if I should reach out to her or just let it go and focus on other things. I understand if you never answer this question, especially since it's a political thing now. If you do somehow reach this and decide to include it, please keep my name anonymous. Of course, I will absolutely keep everyone's name anonymous. Of course, of course. Okay, so just to respond to the little last bit about it being a political issue first off, in case you haven't been watching the vlogs, in case you don't know how I feel, I don't feel like COVID is a political issue on any level. I don't understand how it's even been framed that way. I think that's really sad, and I feel like we have to deal with the situation that we have. It's a serious thing that we all have to deal with, whether we like it or not, but it's especially serious for people with asthma and other conditions, like you said, that you have. And I believe we have to do as much as we can to keep as many people safe as possible. And right now, all we have to do is wear masks and social distance. And yeah, I wish there was more that we could do. I wish there were better ways to do things, but this is what we have right now. And honestly, it's not that hard to do. So now that that's out of the way, on to your question. I absolutely agree that you were taken advantage of. And it just sounds like she's a very, very, very selfish person. And I'm so sad and I feel so sorry that you've had to deal with this, especially from someone that you are close to. A great friend would not put your health at risk. They just wouldn't. That's not a thing. It's not acceptable. And it's like adding on the fact that she is now giving you the cold shoulder and kind of ignoring you and deleting you when she has no right to do that. She has no legs to stand on. It is so wrong. Like, if anyone should be mad, it should be you, obviously. And right now I feel like I should tell you to take the high road and just, you know, treasure the good memories that you had with her, but just move on and don't say anything and leave it alone. But honestly, I would have zero judgment if you decided to one last time reach out to her and explain things. Just explain how you feel about how everything went down, because from what you said, it kind of sounds like you didn't fully get a chance to do that. And I feel like you have the right to do that. Obviously, I don't want you to stir up drama and make things worse and just continue on the hurt, because obviously you're feeling hurt right now. But I think it's completely fair for you to voice how much her selfishness has really hurt you and really impacted you when you were going out of your way, out of your comfort zone to help her. And she just walked all over you. And she's immature and she can't face what she's done. It's just all really sad. And I'm so sorry you're going through this. But I totally support you if you want to, you know, say one more thing and just explain it. But obviously don't say anything you would be ashamed of if she like told other people. Just be raw and real, and maybe she'll see how she made a huge mistake there. Okay, next up, we're gonna do a relationship one. This one is actually really long, so I'm gonna try to not make it long if I can. Okay, I'm 25 and my boyfriend is 30. We've been dating for a little over a year now, but we've known each other much longer. I'm totally in love with him. He's in love with me. I've never met someone who gets me like he does. We share so many of the same values and see the world in very similar ways. The problem is that there are a couple of big things that we don't quite see eye to eye on. Marriage and children being those two things. I've tried talking to a friend about this, and as soon as she heard that, she shut the conversation down and told me those are too big of things to compromise on. And I agree, but the situation is a bit more nuanced than that. My boyfriend is a through and through monogamous. He's very committed to relationships. However, he's always said that he doesn't understand the purpose of marriage. He doesn't think that spending a ton of money on a wedding and signing a paper makes people any more committed to each other or love each other anymore. So what's the point of wasting the money? He also hates being the center of attention, and standing in front of a crowd would be awful for him. I do want to get married someday. We've talked about this at length, and although nothing was promised, I left the conversation with the impression that he would do it to make his partner happy if that's what she truly wanted. I have to note the fact that you said what she truly wanted, not what you truly wanted. In terms of kids, he said that he used to want them back when he was early 20s, but he went back to school and has been climbing the ranks in his new profession for so long that the idea of adding a child to that now, when he's finally just able to kick back and enjoy the fruits of his labor, sounds miserable. He says that he can't promise that he'll ever want them again. I do, though. We've had talks about this also. I can be a bit of a planner and an over communicator, and nothing concrete comes of it. I wouldn't want kids for at least another 5 years, and he says that's too far away for us to know where we'll be in life or what we'll want. I love our day-to-day life together, and generally we're really happy, but my brain can't help but to think 5 to 10 years down the line if I'll end up heartbroken because of these very things, or if resentment will brew in either one of us because we'll be forced into a life we didn't really want. So sometimes I start to think if we be better off splitting up, even though we love each other, in hopes of finding people who more closely match our life plans, or if I should just live in the here and now and cross those bridges when and if they come. That was a long one, but I do think everything that she said was very relevant to the story. Actually, before I get to answering this, I have to say the subject line of her email was, "Am I a crazy planner person?" Which, going into this email, I thought she was literally talking about like a paper planner. And I was like, oh, this could be a fun one. Anyway, so to answer your question, I don't want to be like your friend and just shut you down right whenever you say marriage and kids, but like, I kind of feel like I have to. I'm not shutting you down. I'm totally hearing you out. But those are really big things. You're 25 and you know that eventually you want to get married and have kids. That's not a bad thing. You're kind of framing yourself as like, oh, I'm an over planner. But no, you just know things that you want for your life. That's not weird. That's not an over the top thing. And communicating those things and voicing those things that you want for your life does not make you an over communicator. I think that you're framing these things to kind of keep yourself small and kind of downplay the things that you truly know that you want for your life. And let's be real, those are very basic things to know about yourself, and knowing them at 25 is normal. And it also seems like he knows those very, very basic things about himself as well, and you don't agree. And from your email, I feel like you really know in the back of your head that you'll kick yourself if you keep trying to build a future and try to live towards a future with somebody that wants a completely different future, and you're 25. You've got plenty of time. You're not stuck with this guy. And this isn't a situation where it's like a sitcom and like, you're really neat and he's really messy. Whoopsie, you're so different. It's not like that. This situation is like major regrets, or it could be major regrets. Obviously, he could come around, things could change, but you should not bet your life on that. You should not bet your time on that. Just think, right now, you could be building a relationship with a guy that wants the same things as you, who's thrilled to marry you, super excited to have a family with you, and just while this current boyfriend is kicking back, enjoying the fruits of his labor. I mean, that's not wrong. It's not wrong to want that, but I do think it makes him wrong for you, you know? Moving on to one with the subject line, married and sister-in-law drams. I think she meant drama. Hey girl, so I've been married for 5 years, and since day one, my sister-in-law's husband, brothers, wives. So her husband's brothers' wives, there are 2 of them, can make me super nervous and anxious. Example, I've been getting close to one of them since we have children the same age and live in the same neighborhood, but the other one quickly texted us saying we were mean girls for not including her, but it wasn't on purpose. We just always go on quick Target trips, or I take my daughter over for a quick playtime, and it's almost never planned. We have tried to include her before, but she's a planner and always says no. And when we invited her to lunch, she called us housewives and said her time was too valuable. So I don't know what to do. That is mean girl. I want to have a good relationship with them, and I'm so tired of the drama. I've never had girl drama before since I'm a very straightforward person, but I feel like I can't just be straightforward with them about how petty it is to act like that without being labeled a B word. Advice on how to handle these situations, please. So this one is really silly, and I really feel for you in this situation because honestly, who wants to deal with this? But since it is family, these are people that you're most likely going to have to be around on holidays and stuff for the rest of your life, and you want to be on good terms. You want everyone to get along. Of course, everyone wants everyone to get along. But this is a really tricky situation. I can kind of feel for her because obviously nobody wants to feel left out. But from what you're saying, it sounds like you've given her so many chances to be included and she's turned it down. So if you are genuinely trying to include her on the random Target trips and the random hangouts, like just send her an easy text when it is happening. And if she can't come, she can't come. And I feel like that's something we all experience growing up. Everyone can't hang out all at the same time. Sometimes we're not going to be able to hang out when other people can hang out, and they're not hanging out because they don't like us. And we all learned that growing up, but I don't know, it didn't really work for her. But I think one other thing you can do to kind of be the bigger person, or, you know, really extend a little something extra to include her, is maybe plan stuff. Plan a lunch a few weeks out so she can plan it and she will feel comfortable with that. And so if she can't come to these unplanned things, she'll know that she is included and she is wanted on this future lunch or future shopping trip, you know? I think that's the little bit extra that you can do. And I know it's something extra and you don't want to deal with it, but since it is family, I feel like it is necessary. And if she can't calm down even after that, I do kind of feel like it would be a situation where you get your husband involved. And I know that sounds weird, where it's like you talk to your husband and then your husband talks to his brother and then the brother talks to the wife that is upset. But when it's family, sometimes I do feel like that like chain of command kind of situation is helpful, because you talking to her, you're not blood relatives. You don't have this same kind of closeness that you have with your husband and your husband has with his brother and the brother has with the wife. You know what I mean? And you just want everything to return to normal and be easy. And maybe having the husbands involved, maybe having everyone involved working towards a common goal would make it better. I hope so. I am sorry you're dealing with this, because no one would want to deal with this. Okay, so next, this is a very interesting one. The subject line is need advice on jealousy. And this one is kind of one that had me torn, and it took me a bit to get my answer down. So I've been dating my boyfriend for 8 months and we've got a great relationship. We both have a lot of respect for one another and we really try to be the best partners for one another. His ex-girlfriend is in his friend group from college, which he hangs out with from time to time. She just graduated from dental school, so she's been asking him to help her talk through job options. It doesn't seem like she has a lot of close friends, so I can understand why she'd want her friend to help her navigate through her options. I have no problem with him being friends with her, really. I'm also friends with one of my exes, which my boyfriend is okay with, but I still feel a little bit of jealousy, like when he'll leave the room to talk to her, and I hate that about myself. He does everything to make me feel like it's just another phone call with a friend, so I know that he's not cheating on me or anything. What I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason for me to be jealous. However, it's probably completely normal to feel that way, but I wish I could just get over it. So my question to you is, do you ever feel jealousy in your relationship with Grant, even though you know you shouldn't, and how do you deal with it? Okay, so this is a tough situation. This is a tough question. I already said that, but if Grant were talking on the phone with his ex frequently, leaving the room to talk on the phone to have a private conversation, I mean, I just have to be honest, that would make me jealous. And like you, I would hate myself for feeling jealous and I would want to trust him. But I think in that situation, unless he's a dentist and they're in the same field, I'm kind of wondering why she is going to him for career advice multiple times. Like, why is this relationship the way it is? And you said it seems like she doesn't have very many close friends, but they're from the same friend group from college. So why can't she reach out to one of these other friend group friends that isn't your boyfriend? Why is that not an option? Why does it have to be your boyfriend? I mean, obviously they're close because they were in a relationship, but that does not make me feel better about it. Obviously, I'm not helping your jealousy at all, but it's just the truth. It just makes me wonder, you know? I also think, you know, what if he asked you to kind of tone down or step back from your friendship with your ex? Like, how would that make you feel? And maybe answering that question to yourself would help shape what you're going to do moving forward. So since you asked about my situation with Grant, he's made it clear since the beginning of our relationship that he doesn't keep in contact with exes, and he feels like it's disrespectful for people in relationships to keep in contact with their exes, like unless it's like a very special situation like family tragedy or something like that. You just say like, hey, I'm expressing my condolences, you know, something like that. But beyond that, it's like there's always something there with your ex once you've had a serious relationship with them, and it just keeps the door open a little bit. And honestly, I totally agree with him. And in past relationships where I wasn't so serious, wasn't married, I have kept exes in my life, but those were not super serious situations to me. And I know that does not apply to everyone. I'm sure tons of people can stay friends with their exes and it's not a problem with their partners, but I think this is a good way for us to go, and it does cut down jealousy in a big way. It cuts down questions and concerns. So I don't know. I don't know if that's an option for you, but that's the way we do it. Okay, now we're gonna move on to an email that really made me mad, a whole situation that makes me mad, and it makes me mad for you guys, for this person. And there have been several emails like that, like all of these emails where people are not being treated properly. Like, it makes me very upset, but this one especially. Anyway, okay. This time last year, I found out I was pregnant. This wasn't planned, however, I was over the moon. I was also terrified as I had previously had a miscarriage at 12 weeks in a previous relationship. The guy I was seeing at the time had told me he always wanted children, and that is why his previous relationship broke down. We were not serious at the time, however, we had been dating a little while, and I was confident he would be happy about the news either way. When I told him, he completely changed. He stopped talking to me, told me he was in the middle of moving to his mom's, and I basically got a load of excuses. Turns out he was in a relationship the entire time and now had blocked my number and shut me off completely. I tried to come clean to his girlfriend of 3 years, as I thought she deserved to know, and this probably isn't the first time this happened. However, she didn't believe me and accused me of lying to break up their relationship. I don't understand that. He also accused me of lying and called me a terrible name all over Facebook. Fast forward today, I have a beautiful 4-month-old son, congratulations, born in the middle of lockdown and completely on my own. I worked full-time the entire pregnancy and have done it all myself. I have tried to keep his dad updated along the way and even sent every scanned photo and first pictures when he was first born. Every single time it's been ignored and I've been blocked on every single platform. I don't want anything to do with the guy, but I feel like for my son's sake, I need to keep trying to establish some form of contact, especially as he's missing out on an entire group of relatives. I've also never asked for a penny from him, not that I would get anything from him anyway. Do I keep trying for my son, or do I keep that what evidence I have of trying and cut our losses now? Okay, that was a long one, but again, I do feel like that was all relevant. So I'm real angry about this one. This is absolutely disgusting to me. And honestly, I feel like your son is better off without an ounce of influence from this horrible disaster human. He's chosen to lie, cheat, and skip out on a major responsibility like a 5-year-old. And if this girl wants him so bad, let her have him. I don't think that you want him. I think you want him in your son's life, but like, let her have him. You're not losing anything. And on the note of the relatives, it's hard for me not to think that, judging by his behavior, these relatives that your son is missing out on might not be such a prize either. You know, I know that I'm making a huge assumption there. He could just be like the rotten apple in the family, but I'm kind of guessing he's probably not. So, plan of action, what I would do if I was in your situation. Cut off all contact. Stop trying to reach out to him. Stop trying to make him have love for his son that obviously he just doesn't have. Obviously, he just has a very cold, possibly broken heart that you didn't do this to him. I don't know what made him the way that he is, but it's not good. And I don't feel good about him changing. And I don't feel like you should invest more time, more effort, more energy into trying to get him to change when I just don't think it's going to happen. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly how this works, but he owes you child support. whether he has something or doesn't have something, I feel like it needs to be on the books that he owes you, because you didn't make this baby alone, and he does owe support to your son. Even if you could get $5, I mean, that's an extra Happy Meal, or not a Happy Meal, but like a toy or school supplies or something like that. And it's something. And since he's not contributing anything positive to his life so far, he could at least provide financially when he's in the position to. But I think going through the legal system is the way to go in this moment, because I don't think he's just gonna like wake up tomorrow and decide to take responsibility and show up. I just don't have any confidence in him whatsoever, because everything he's done, every single step of the way, has been the wrong choice. He's never chosen the right thing, and we can't ever hope that he will. I mean, people do change, but what you need to do is get away from him in every way possible, because he's only hurting you. And if he's only hurt you when you're in this situation, having his son, what is he gonna do to your son? I don't know. And I'm like going off on this, but it just makes me so upset. And as I wrote my notes on how I wanted to answer this question, I actually brought this one up with Grant, because I was like, I think I might be being crazy. Like, I might be a little too enraged over this one. Before he started, he said, maybe this is too crazy girlfriend of me, which, like, what? But he said maybe she could try writing a letter, like a written out letter to his mom, so the grandmother of your son, and explain the situation, explain everything, and explain that you're not trying to get anything from her, but she has a grandson out there, and that even though your son can't have the dad that he deserves, he could still have a grandmother if she wants to be in his life. And, you know, just to make the connection. But I do think that's very good advice, but I would also say try to do, I don't know, a little research. That sounds crazy also, but just kind of know the kind of person that you're reaching out to. You said that he might be moving in with his mom. I don't know if his mom is kind of a scummy person as well. You might not want her in his life either. I'd say just like mistakes have been made in a very life-altering way so far. Let's try to stop those mistakes. And I feel like a lot of the mistakes had to do with this guy, and he just needs to be cut out. But he also owes you support. He just does. There is no shame in you needing and deserving that support. I'm gonna try to calm down and move on, because I feel like I could talk about that one forever. I wish I had this person on the phone so we could talk back and forth. Wow, my straight talk days are coming for me. I need to get a big red phone and have callers. I do need a podcast. Okay, here is another COVID related friendship question. So, okay, the subject line is being in a wedding party during COVID. So I wanted to ask your opinion/advice for being in a wedding during COVID. I'm in such a tough position because I love my girlfriend, but she's going through with her pre-wedding celebrations, bridal shower, bachelorette without too much regard to the pandemic. For example, I'm one of her bridesmaids and didn't want to miss her bridal shower. She held it saying it was COVID friendly, and so I attended. I was the only one wearing a mask. Yes, we were outside, the tables were spread out, but it just felt so wrong. I can totally picture that, and it scares me. It definitely gave me some anxiety because I didn't want to put my family or colleagues at risk. She has her bachelorette party coming up, and it will be a small number of people, but I don't feel comfortable going. How can I say that without offending her? I want to be honest, but I know she's sick of hearing about the COVID stuff, and I might annoy her. I plan on attending the wedding a week later, but going with my fiance makes me feel better since we'll both be wearing masks. I just feel like the situation is out of your control. This is not a mean situation where you're snubbing her or rejecting her or saying that you don't love her. You love her, you want to support her. You came to the other thing and it wasn't what you expected. And so you have every right to say, I just don't feel comfortable coming to the bachelorette. I'm still coming to the wedding, which might be questionable, but you're doing as much as you feel comfortable doing. And that's the most she can ask. I mean, honestly, how often does a situation like this come up in anyone's life where your friendship is on the line because of an illness or because of like a health concern. You know what I mean? This is just something that is out of your hands. You can't control it, and you just have to say, I'm sorry. I love you. I want to support you. I want you to have the best time ever. I'm so excited for your wedding. I'm so excited to have a long, loving, lifelong friendship with you, but I don't feel comfortable coming to the bachelorette, and I hope you can respect my decision on this because it was a hard decision to make. I just don't want to put anyone at risk. I'm still going to come to the wedding, but you know, just lay it out there, just super loving, super compassionate, super supportive. But at the same time, you have to respect your own boundaries, and she needs to respect that as well. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to annoy her. She should not be annoyed. I just have a hard time really trying to like tiptoe around her getting annoyed when this is something that you can't control. This is something everyone is dealing with, even though everyone is sick of it. Nobody wants to be dealing with it. She still has to deal with it because we all do. It's very sad for everyone in different ways, some much more horrific than others. But you not being at her bachelorette party is not the end of the world. And if she makes it out like it's the end of the world, I really hope she grows up and you guys get to have a mature friendship one day because that is just silly. You know that, I know that. Hopefully she knows that. Okay, moving on. There are so many questions. And so many questions that I want to talk about, but I feel like I need to find a last question right now because I'm really worried that this video is extremely, extremely long. Okay, actually, I'm going to do 2 more, but the last one is kind of a special situation. So the next one is going to be another relationship one. Okay, so this is actually kind of a common email. I got several different versions of this. Obviously, the details are all pretty different, but the core question is the same with all of these emails, and the subject line here is, will he ever propose? All caps, exclamation, question mark. I've been dating my current boyfriend for 3.5 years. I can't tell if I'm being crazy about this, so please let me know if I am. He says he has a plan to propose and keeps telling me to just be patient, but I can't help but wonder what is taking him so long. We've had our ups and downs, of course, and we always bounce back, but I can't seem to figure out if there is something wrong with me or if he just wants to wait. Things are going great in life right now. We're going to move out together in 2 months. I just graduated nursing school and got a new job. So what's the holdup? Again, I don't know if I'm being crazy, but I hate watching all my friends get engaged after a year or 2 and feeling like it's me. Okay, from my point of view, 3.5 years isn't too long to wait to propose. Like, it's not like this is like a weirdly long amount of time. I've seen other people say 10 years, 8 years. That's a long time. That's a crazy amount of time. But 3.5 years doesn't seem like a crazy long time to wait. But it is still a long time. So I totally understand why you're feeling impatient and why you just like, what's going on here? Like, I totally get you. It's very hard to come up with just like a concrete answer for this one, but my gut says if this is the love of your life, if you have no questions about this relationship, if you think this is your soulmate, have a big talk with them, give it 6 months, because then it'll be 4 years. And I feel like at 4 years, it's getting a little wild, you know? I also do feel like I have to say, and this is a very unpopular opinion of mine, you should hold off on moving in together. I hope I'm reading this right. It sounds like you're gonna be moving in together for the first time in 2 months. And if that is the case, I would hold off. I would take a step back and I would have that very real, honest conversation and not move in together unless you're engaged and moving towards marriage, not like an 8-year engagement kind of thing. Because I've heard about that, and that is another wild situation to me that I would avoid, because you're already so invested in this with your time and your love and your feelings and, you know, all these moments in your life you've shared with this person. You're already so invested, and to invest even more by becoming bound with real estate or property without that commitment of marriage, it's just kind of cheating yourself. And I don't know if this is your situation, but sometimes people take that step of moving in together when they can't have that step of marriage, when that's really the one that they would prefer. And many times when you move in together and you're basically doing everything that married people do, it kind of puts marriage on the back burner because you're already doing all the things that married people do. And if you're not moving towards that, if that's not on the horizon, there's a date in the calendar, then I think that's a shaky situation. And I think you might be selling yourself short and not getting the things that you want out of life when marriage is important to you. So you just really need to get to the root of like, what's going on here? Is it me? Which I'm like 99% sure it's not you. I think maybe he just doesn't understand how serious the situation is to you. Okay, and don't get mad at me because I know this is a generalization, but one more thing that I thought of whenever I was looking at this question. A lot of times when couples move in together, I guess heterosexual couples, women will end up doing the bulk of the household chores. I know that's not an all the time thing, but it tends to be true. We can basically agree on that. And how are you gonna feel when you're cleaning up, possibly cooking for this guy that is just your boyfriend, that you're just like waiting for a proposal from, and he's just probably not thinking about it at all. And you're doing all this work and you're building this pretty house and you're having like a happy home with this guy that's just your boyfriend that you wish was your husband, but he's not really moving it forward and you don't know why. Like that just sounds like a very frustrating situation, and with the added bit of housework. It's a complicated situation, and I just think you've got to have that serious talk. You've got to get on the same page, obviously. All right, I've got my very last question. I know this video / podcast has been very long, but this is the last one. And this is a different kind of question. This is a special question. And I want to open this question up to you guys in the comments. I mean, maybe you disagree or agree or have a comment on a different one, but for this one, I want to open up the discussion in the comments with you guys because I was kind of stuck on this one. This one is one that I thought about a lot, and it was very hard for me to come up with an answer, and I kind of didn't. And I do feel like it's definitely a very worthy topic of discussion. So let me get into it. All right, so she said specifically, I already have some ideas on what to work on, but I figured I'd ask in case anyone else in your fan base is going through something similar. So she kind of wanted to get it opened up to everyone anyway. So my husband and I are 8 years and 2 tiny ones into our marriage, and we married young. We have something great here, but I've grown in some ways and we find ourselves at an impasse in our worldviews / politics. Much of the time, I can ground myself in knowing those disagreements are just ideas, so I can try to ignore, but I also realize that that kind of shows my privilege. He's the kind of guy that would give his shirt off his back, as the saying goes, but not super into dismantling systems that might cause a person to need a shirt in the first place. I'm not okay with that. So how do you work to navigate those differences in values and morals in the age of cancel culture? This is just such a tricky situation. They've been together for 8 years. They have little kids. Obviously, I want their marriage to work, and she didn't say anything about splitting up over this issue. And I know that couples can make it work with different political beliefs, but it really all kind of rides on what she wants out of this. Is it that she's questioning his character because he doesn't agree with her on these issues? I mean, she did say that they married young, they've been together for 8 years, and the conversations that we're having today, the conversations that are so common now, were not common 8 years ago, or at least as far as I knew. And maybe I'm not in the right space, but 8 years ago, I don't remember the same conversations happening that are happening now. And we've all grown, we've all gained so much knowledge on so many different things, and she really didn't get specific about what they've been talking about as much. It's just a very difficult issue, and it all comes down to what's the end goal? Is divorce on the table? Is it that serious? Or is it maybe she needs to give him more time to grow and understand the same things that she does? Or maybe is this something that many married people deal with, and you just have to learn to accept each other's beliefs and meet in the middle? And I don't know. This is a very, very, very difficult one, and I would love more details on it, but I would also love to hear your thoughts on it. Oh, my light just went out suddenly. Is this a situation that you guys have been through? Is it something that you've seen in your friends? How did you deal with it? How did they deal with it? What do you think works? How would you talk to her as a friend if she was coming to you asking how to navigate this situation? And in my heart, I just say, I want them to stay together. I want them to be a happy family, and I want them to all grow together, and I want everyone to be happy ultimately. I don't want anyone to break up. And I don't even know if that's on the table. So I don't know. Obviously, you can see for me, I'm kind of flustered by this question, and I don't have the advice for this. So I would love to hear from you guys. I feel like this video has been a million years long. I'm so sorry, but this is it. I'm sorry to anyone that I did not answer your email. We will do this again. I love doing these videos. Thank you so much to everyone that emailed. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being here. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much. You are my people and I love you. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. You can also find me on social media. It's LeighAnnSays everywhere. Whew, I feel like I need like a nap after this video, or like some ice cream. I don't know. It really takes it out of me, but I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone. Just getting started. I don't feel good about this. I feel like this is gonna take a long time. I want hair for this one. My hair look weird like this. Look like a weird, like your aunt from the 70s. I have good posture and everything. Wish these sleeves were a little shorter.